From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a huge morning here on Mornings LALATE with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. In this recording, we're going to go over how much you're going to get, when you're going to get it, and what's the breaking news about your fourth stimulus check of today. Incredible, wonderful news. Then in the second half of this recording, we go over a fifth stimulus that'll raise your benefits up a lifetime because of a benchmark. And we're going to look more at that benchmark and the breaking news forming just this morning that impacts that number. Wow. Then in the middle of this recording, we go over the big money available for you right now. Thousands of dollars. Viewers continue to get it, and I want you to get it as well. It's a big morning. The toast is toasting. The butter is buttering. I'm here. You're here. Let's get all this deliciousness. If only we could have a bacon bell. This is Mornings LALATE. How are you doing? It's Wednesday morning. Can you imagine? It's Wednesday and we've already made it halfway to the weekend. Congratulations. You're almost to the week, halfway there. How is the weather where you are? And tell me where you're tuning in from. Drop in the comments. How's the weather and where you're tuning in from? It is June gloom here. It is June gloom here in Los Angeles. It is dark and gloomy. We got like a little bit of light coming on in, but I'm loving it. It's nice and beautiful weather. You can get away without wearing a sweater at the moment. Let's see how it forms later in the day. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, we have incredible breaking news that is wonderful across the board. We'll be going over the fourth stimulus check, how much you're going to get and how it's being formulated, and all you need to know about the entire process. Then, in the second half of this video, we're going to go over fifth stimulus that raises your benefits up, and we have new breaking news this morning that suggests where that benchmark will be applied and how that'll change you for the lifetime of the benefits. Wow, wonderful details. Then in the middle of the recording, we go over the big money that viewers continue to get. Thousands of dollars. I want you to get it as well. It's a big day and it's a big morning. And this is LALATE, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the only financial news channel of its kind broadcasting around the clock. So subscribe, 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year for a reason. This channel here is to help people, not just report news, get people actual money. Also, like this video. 2,000-3,000 likes and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Let's get right into that fourth stimulus. It starts with a House bill and a Senate proposal. We're going to go over all those details in the breaking news starting right now. The House bill provides a monthly stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. That House bill by Jalapal is wonderful. A check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. Let's see how that plays out. If you're in the live chat, jump into the live chat right now. If you're watching this show at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or if you're watching later, jump into the comments under the video and get ready to vote House or Senate, but not just yet. So Jalapal's House bill is a pandemic check for the remainder of the pandemic every month, then a check every month for 1 year thereafter. The senators, on the other hand, want stimulus checks to go from July to December. Interesting. So let's compare the monthly amounts. The House bill provides $2,000 the first month, $1,000 every month thereafter. The Senate amount is unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Wow, wonderful news. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. That is per person. Wow. Now let's go back to Jalapal's bill to understand why macroeconomics may be impacting the calculation. Jalapal's House bill provides a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year, but many insiders believe that legislators will contend the pandemic is over, so that would leave Jalapal with 1 year of stimulus checks, 12 checks over 12 months, which amounts to $13,000. $13,000 over 12 months compared to this over 6 months. Okay, I think you have an opinion now. I think you have an opinion. House or Senate? Jump into the live chat or in the comments of this video. House or Senate, which one do you like? And tell me where you're tuning in from. All right, let's go over everything else you need to know about this fourth stimulus. Who gets it? You do. So if you make less than $75,000, a single individual, you get the fourth stimulus check. If you are a married couple, you get the fourth stimulus check. Double it. Household 4 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And then if you're on benefits, you get the fourth stimulus check. Congratulations. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. The stimulus check is not taxable because it's not income. The stimulus check has the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents, minor dependents, and everyone else. Great news. The fourth stimulus check would not come out in waves. It can't because it's a stimulus check on a monthly basis. And remember, I'm just a reporter. I report the news. I don't make representations. The legislators make the representations of which they represent. The vote will be by July 4th. That means that the fourth stimulus check goes out in the month of July for the month of July, in the month of August for the month of August. And away we go. That is your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 to start. But we got more breaking news coming up in just a second on this fourth stimulus check. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video. In the second half of this video, we go over fifth stimulus that'll raise your benefits up the highest amount you've ever seen. I'll be comparing that against the Elizabeth Warren plan. It pays a lot more, this one. And I'll also be going over the breaking news that impacts that number. Stay with me. That's coming up in the later half of this recording. But now let me turn to the thousands of dollars that viewers continue to get. You are killing it. We don't go less than an hour without viewers saying, I got money. I got money for rent or utilities or SNAP. They jump into the live chat. So if you are a viewer who got money from this channel, jump into the live chat right now or the comments saying, I got money for SNAP or I got money for rent, because it inspires others. That's the spirit of this channel. Since day one, I have been here to help people get people money. I got people $25 million in EIDL loans by hand-holding and going through their individual applications personally, one at a time. Then in the fall of last year, I got viewers $250,000 of rent and utilities after we thought that second stimulus was never going to even happen. And since then, we've been focusing on getting this money for other people. And it's starting right now. So get a pen and paper ready. Viewers continue to get money, and I want you to get money as well if you haven't gotten it. And if you have gotten some, I'm going to get you more. And it starts first with $350 billion. No, not $350 billion for you. That's the share. It's $350 billion coming from the federal government to your city, counties, and states last week and this week. And it starts with money for rent. There is money for rent, renters' utilities, homeowners' assistance, and homeowners' mortgage and utilities. You're going to go to 6 places. I'm going to show you in a second. Get that pen and paper ready. Stay to the very end of this video. I have a lot of money for you. And those locations have different eligibility. So if one says no, don't worry, reach out to the next one, and the next one may say yes. And we're going to go through each of them in just 1 second, starting with rent, which pays about $5,000 for 4 to 6 months of rent. Wonderful news. Okay, got that pen and paper ready? Here we go. City Hall, City Housing Authority. This is where you're reaching out to. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. The key words you're going to say is rent assistance because of COVID. You could also say Biden Economic Recovery Act, but you say rent assistance because of COVID or mortgage assistance because of COVID. You don't say stimulus, and you don't say ketchup either. Why are you saying ketchup to me? We don't carry ketchup, sir. We carry rent assistance. So you got to say the correct words. And that's about $5,000 for rent. One viewer, Tim, got money. Linda got money. So viewers continue to kill it. If you got money for rent, drop in the comments how much you got. But I want that viewer to be you next. And let's go to another pot of money. Lynn Glenn got this for herself, for her son, for her mom. And then Gail got this money, and what is it? It is SNAP. It has been one of the real success stories of this channel, and it is a lot of money. Let's go over how much it is, how you get it, where you get it, and all the details. First, it is from the Department of Agriculture, DOA. So reach out to the Department of Agriculture and get this money. How much money is it? It's a lot. It's about $16,000 for a family of 4 in Hawaii. Why is it so much? Because it's 2 executive orders, one from Trump and one from Biden, that raised everyone's benefits up 15% between now and December. So reach out to the Department of Agriculture and ask to get on SNAP. And don't mention ketchup either. All right, let's go to some other money. And one viewer got $5,000 for this money. And this is coming from The states. The federal government has ordered states to return a lot of money back to you. Oh boy. We're going to go over how much this is, how you're going to get it, and when you're going to get it. The federal government has identified states as overpaying unemployment benefits to you due to computer error and then asking you to return the money back, and you did. Federal government said that was your money to keep. So the federal government has ordered the states to return that money to you. Wow, wonderful news. So you're going to get that money returned back to you from the states. How? In the bank account you have on file. When? Depends on the respective state. Every state has different routing times. Which brings me to another big pot of money. And we had a wonderful viewer on Friday saying he got his check. He wants you to know he got his check. Another viewer got $2,000 for her check, and we're going to go over that right now. It is money from the federal government for the taxes you paid on your unemployment benefits, and it's coming back right now. Let's go over how much you get, when you get it, how you get it, and the routing details you need to know about watching to get that money. All right, first, how much money is it? It's a lot. It's the taxes you paid to IRS on that 2020 tax return. For example, let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment assistance. You paid a $5,000 tax bill, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back a check of $4,000. Next, when? The checks were all sent out in the month of May, so you're going to get them starting in the month of June now. So over the next 2 weeks, you're starting getting those checks. Then how? This is probably the most important one. How are you going to get those checks? Those checks are coming in a beige or white envelope that is laser thin. So watch the mail surgically over the next few weeks. You want to go slowly through that mail so you don't throw it away. Finally, how to track it? Yes, go to irs.gov. Sign up with a username and password for free. Go in there and put your social security number in and do a transcript search. Nearly 70% of the time it works. It'll show you when you paid that tax return, when you filed the tax return, and when the refund was coming to you. Is there anything better than that? There is. And it's the big other parts of the fourth stimulus check update of 2021 starting right now. The breaking news on this is that Leader Schumer has now confirmed all the three major things that I said he was going to confirm to you in the last few days. And let's go over each of them, starting with the first one, which is the reconciliation process is already underway. Number two, the reconciliation process will be done by around July 4th. And number three, the reconciliation process will not be held up due to any chats the president has with Republicans. Incredible, great news. Now let's go over how we got to that point and understand why this is so wonderful. It started over a week ago when Jalapal, yes, the person who wrote that House bill, wrote Leader Schumer a letter and said, call the vote, call the vote. Why did Jalapal say that? Because the reconciliation bills had ostensibly been written and there was no reason to wait. The letter was co-signed by about a dozen House Democrats. But who are they? They are among those 100 House Democrats who wrote the president a letter after Jalapal introduced to the House floor the multiple stimulus check bill, saying we are going to put those multiple stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package, Mr. President. Wow, that's wonderful news. Can we get better than that? We can, a lot better. About a week ago, when the reconciliation process had already begun, 7 House Democrats wrote the president a letter saying we are going to work with you to put those monthly fourth stimulus checks into the fourth stimulus package. Now, work with you is a euphemism because the president doesn't write legislation. They do. But who are these people to write legislation? They are on the House subcommittee that is solely and exclusively responsible for putting stimulus checks in any stimulus package. This subcommittee is the only subcommittee that actually is tasked with the duty of writing about stimulus checks in the first stimulus package, in the second stimulus, in the third stimulus, and now the fourth stimulus. Wow. So at the same time that they're underway with the reconciliation process, they're telling the president, we're putting those four stimulus checks in there. Yes, they are. And it got even better news when the president about a week ago said, just call the vote, Leader Schumer. I'll continue to have negotiations, but I don't hold that up for me. And that's exactly what Leader Schumer said last Friday. Now, the heat got very hot last Tuesday with wonderful news from the president, who did something very unusual. And that unusual great news is absolutely incredible. I want to slow it down because it's a little confusing so you understand how it works. It started on Tuesday when the president reached out to countries around the globe and said, would you agree to a higher global minimum corporate tax rate? What does this mean? Well, the fourth stimulus is paid for by raising the U.S. corporate tax rate. So what did the president do? He got leaders around the globe to tentatively agree to raising the global minimum corporate tax rate, which would mean that you would not move a corporation from U.S. soils to, let's say, France, because it wouldn't be cost advantageous. Good news. But it got better news in the afternoon when the president confirmed to insiders that after forced stimulus becomes a law, he's going to reach out to those G7 countries and get them to formally agree to this global minimum corporate tax rate. And if they do, that he's going to drop the U.S. corporate tax rate. Wow. Insane. Does it get better than that? It does get better than that. It got better than that when late last week, the president confirmed that he was rejecting the Republicans' counterproposal. And then senators, not Schumer, but other senators who are Democrats, came out and say, just call the vote, Leader Schumer. Call the vote. And with that, it's important to know that the reconciliation process is underway. The reconciliation process involves many steps and a lot of voting, and the reconciliation process will finish by July 4th. And that is just wonderful. But coming up in the second half of this video, I got more about how this reconciliation process actually works. So stay with me for those exciting details. And we'll be going over the wonderful news about FIST stimulus and how your benefits will be raised up based upon a benchmark that we're learning more about in breaking news today. But first, it gets even better. With the volunteers. The spirit of this channel is helping people. Me helping people get money, and viewers helping one another's. And that's the spirit of the community page. So if you've had problems finding that rent, utilities, or mortgage assistance, or free internet, reach out to the volunteers. They can help you. They're viewers just like you who have stepped forward to help you. Where are they? They are on the community page. Open to the description to this video. In the description of this video, you will see an emoji of a house. Then next to that emoji is a link to the community page, news.la.com/community. It sends you to the community page. It has pictures of a series of cats at the top of the page. No, those are not the volunteers. Those are just some cats. Lower on the page of the volunteers. Reach out to the volunteers. They'll be happy to get you help with that rent, utilities, and internet and more. Here's a little bit about the community page and the volunteers. And I'll be back in 60 seconds with you with big, exciting news still about forced stimulus and FIST stimulus. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Mornings LA. The toast is toast and the butter is butter and the coffee is brewing. I'm here, you're here, and there's a full chat room. How is everyone doing? Good morning. How you doing? Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. This is Mornings LA live to you from Santa Monica, California. This is the start of a morning slot of live broadcast. I'm next with you in about 5 minutes after the show ends with Mornings Crypto. Live on air with breaking news about Doge and a major announcement of the cryptocurrency industry. And one of the coins I recommended was up 40% overnight. Boy, which one is it? Yeah, tune into that. That is going to be a big show. Then I'm back with you at 11 a.m. with Noontime LA with more breaking news about your fourth stimulus. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Next stop, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The membership link is in the top of the chat and in the pinned comment. More about that membership in just a second. Let's cut to fifth stimulus that heats up this fall and understand why it's wonderful and why it's a lot more money than the Warren plan, and what's the breaking news about this today as well. So they're going to remove the asset limit, then raise your benefit limits up, add an inflationary benchmark, then remove the income exclusion, remove the marriage penalty. Let me explain how this calculates out, the breaking news about it, and compare this against the Warren plan. First, they're going to raise everyone's benefits up. Whose? Yours. So if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, SSA, Survivor benefits, or multiple benefits, your benefits will be raised up one big time under the fifth stimulus. Then they'll apply a benchmark, and that benchmark is inflation. The benchmark means that every December they look at that rate and they decide whether to step you up or keep you the same. They never step you down. Now we're trying to figure out what this inflation rate will be in December. And this morning we saw a breaking news report that came out that's quite fascinating. It talked about car sales. There's a shortage of semiconductor chips in the globe now, around the country. There's certainly a shortage in the United States. And because of that, there's a shortage of new vehicles. As a result, a shocking new report today says that the shortest lead time ever on car sales is currently happening in the United States. From the point at which a car lands on a dealership's port or lot to the gets into a person's driveway is now less than 7 days, meaning the cars are literally landing and being sold immediately. Enormous demand, lack of inventory. Well, guess what analysts are saying? They said that this December, it will be the inverse, that rather there'll be too much inventory and lack of demand, which could cause deflation, not inflation. Interesting. So slightly contradictory to the other reports we've been seeing in recent days. Jeremy Siegel said the inflation rate will go higher later this year, maybe 20%, maybe on the high end. The Federal Reserve said the growth rate is going to skyrocket from 4% now to 10.5% by December. Interesting. They would certainly know. And then a lot of analysts are talking about 4 to 7% inflation by December. Let's choose 6% as an example to show you how this calculates and how it's wonderful news. First, they're going to raise your benefits up. Then, in December, they're going to look at the inflation rate and apply it as a benchmark. Let's say it's 6%. Then they'll step up your benefits 6% for next year. But not just next year, lifetime. Because once you step up, you never step back down. That will be your plus 6% lifetime. So if the year after that the inflation rate is 0%, you do not step down. You still stay at plus 6%. And the year after that the inflation rate is 2%, then you're plus 2 and plus 6%. Wonderful, wonderful news. There is not a better time ever to be tied to inflation because it's expected to be the highest of a generation when they apply that benchmark for you in December. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. Time to get rid of it, just in time to get those stimulus checks in your hand. Then they're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away. Now you can work. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Horrible rule. Love is going to win. You'll be able to marry your longtime love interest and not suffer a marriage penalty. And if you are married, you'll no longer be penalized. That's fifth stimulus. September starts out the door by about October, November, they represent, and then signed into law thereafter, likely with the benefit step up in January. Compared to the Elizabeth Warren plan, this is a lot more money. One, Elizabeth Warren was going to tie you to CPIE, not inflation. Inflation is the number that's going to go through the roof. And being tied to the number that's going through the roof, your benefits would step up lifetime at that much higher number. Warren was not going to give you the marriage penalty removal or the income exclusion removal or the asset removal exclusion. So these items are paying you a lot more money, even short-term, and absolutely an enormous amount more money long-term than the Warren plan. Wonderful news there. Now, it's important to understand that this stimulus has a lot of other money in there. There is money for single individuals. The president calls the stimulus the American Family Plan, but there's a lot of money in there that's not for families. That's for single people. How do you find out what's in there? By becoming a member. With a video that has a running time of 30 minutes and we're currently at the 25-minute mark, I never have enough time to go over everything that's in the fifth stimulus, the fourth stimulus, and the third stimulus in a 30-minute video. So consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the channel, the pinned comment. Members get delivered every day from the community page of YouTube via me, a delineation, a breakdown of everything that's in the fifth stimulus that gets you money, in the fourth stimulus that gets you money, and in the third stimulus. For example, in the fifth stimulus, there is money for single individuals. There's money for single people hazard pay. There's money for single seniors. And you find that out every day with the PDFs delivered to you. It's important to understand that at least become a subscriber, because when we go into the month of July, it's going to be a very crowded month, and it's important to know what is fourth stimulus, what else is in fourth stimulus, and that is what's covered in the videos. Now let's go back to the fourth stimulus check and go over two things I want to cover. First, I want to cover the vote. Second, I want to deliver you a personal message of something you're going to be excited for. First, the vote. It's important to understand that the voting process for the fourth stimulus is a 9-step voting process. And that 9-step voting process is required by the Constitution. During the live chat earlier, Lawrence Webb said, can't they get everything together and get it voted on in 2 weeks? Why is it in slow motion? It's important to understand that the process is required by the Constitution, and it's not being created by any individual, or it's not being created by any party. That process is a 9-step voting process, and that 9-step voting process has the first half procedural and the second half substantive. Let's go over those 9 steps. Step 1, the House subcommittee has to call a vote on the procedural bill. Then the House, step 2, House floor calls a procedural vote. Step 3, the Senate calls a vote on the procedural bill. And step 4, the President calls a vote, signs into law the procedural bill. At that point, the tow truck has passed over the finish line, the procedural bill. Time to go do the substantive bill, the second half. First, the House subcommittees do the substantive bill. That's like the House Ways and Means Committee, which detailed early in this video. If they want to put the multiple stimulus checks in at that level, they can put them in at that level. Then step 6, the House floor votes on the substantive bill. Step 7 and 8 is the 2-day votorama in the Senate. During the votorama, senators introduce amendments to anything that they got from the House. So if the House did put in stimulus checks, the senators can modify it. If the House didn't put in stimulus checks, the senators can put them in. It's a 2-day votorama process. And finally, step 9, the President signs into law the substantive bill. 9 voting steps, not 9 days, but 9 voting steps. And so it's a very detailed process required by the Constitution. And with that, I hope this inspires you and motivates you and educates you about the process at hand. Finally, a personal message. This channel has been very successful with you on getting things done and changing history. If you look back to November of last year, second stimulus was just not happening. It wasn't moving. It wasn't going anywhere. And I ramped up by creating something called the Purple Power. And we started making inroads. We got an extension of the eviction moratorium. We got Steve Mnuchin to raise his stimulus check counteroffer. We got a lot of things going. But the biggest achievement was when I came up with the idea of putting stimulus into a continuing resolution called CR for stimulus. There was no hope for stimulus at that time. And I came up with the idea of putting stimulus into the continuing resolution. And you pushed it with something I called Purple Power, hashtag Purple Power. They started to put stimulus then into the CR. But then they came back and tried to turn it against us by not having a stimulus check in the continuing resolution. So we fired back and we pushed Purple Power to get a stimulus check into the continuing resolution. And we won. That was the second stimulus check, all because of your pushing for the second stimulus. It's important to know that looking back over the last year, there's been opportunities in which Congress has actually put in writing, in a bill, which they called for a vote, certain things that never came to fruition. And so we always have to push. We'll certainly recall that there was $3,200 for adult dependents. That we'll recall that there was the CARES Act in December. We'll recall that FPUC retro. We'll recall that the EIDL loan increases were to be increased. We will recall that there was supposed to be the remainder of the $10,000 EIDL grant and the $5,000 EIDL grant. We will recall every time that something was actually put into law and sometimes not even rolled out. So we always have to push. And with that, I bring back Purple Power pushing right today. I want you to take these videos and share them and push them on social media. Hashtag Purple Power, hashtag MSC. You want to make sure that legislators push, because remember, we have 2 emojis on this channel. Not bill yet and not law yet. They won't show you the bills that they're writing. They have been writing the bills. They won't show you the negotiations that they're doing behind the scenes. They are negotiating among themselves. But ultimately, we want to ensure that we get it to the finish line. So share these videos, post them on Facebook, post them on social media, share them on Twitter, Reddit, and Instagram, and hashtag Purple Power, hashtag MSC. And with that, I look forward to seeing you in about 10 minutes from now with exciting, great news about the wonderful changes of cryptocurrency. On Mornings Crypto, it's coming up in about 5 minutes from now. You're going to be shocked at what's happening. And then at 11 a.m. is Noontime LALATE. I have big, exciting news still about Force Stimulus, a big reporting. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Also, like this video. Share the video. Start the push. Purple Power, hashtag MSC. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful morning. You've made it halfway to the weekend. We're almost there. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA.